Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we are going to be doing another Walking Dead Q&A. And if you want to know how you can get your questions to me for the next Q&A video, the best way to do that is just to drop a comment down below. Just make sure you put Q&A before you type your question so I know it's for the Q&A videos and not just a question that you want me to answer in the comments. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for all the love and all the support. It really means the world to me. Let's get right into it, man. So, the first question we have today is, do you think we'll ever find out what Designation 2 is? The Commonwealth soldier said he only heard rumors of it and people go there and never come back. Is it a group? Is it a place? What is it? Um, no, I don't think we'll ever figure out what that is. Now, we could possibly, just because, Scott Gimple could pretty much use anything in the world to write a pretty interesting story, a compelling story for the future of the Walking Dead universe, whether that's with Rick and Michonne or whatever it is, right? I mean, he could use that, the Designation 2 stuff. Maybe it's a group of people who are like rebelling against the new Commonwealth and they, are corrupt, right? Just like the old Commonwealth, right? I mean, that could definitely be a thing, but I don't necessarily see that happening. I think we'll just never figure out what it is, honestly. Next question we have, and this is such a great question, man. It says Q&A, do you think it was a good idea to broaden the roster of The Walking Dead? When I think about its prime, I remember the small individual groups in seasons 1 through 3 where it flowed so well with discussions with regular and side characters and not so much was happening at once. For me, I think we lost this at the end of season 5 and 6, where after they started involving too many groups, the Saviors, the Kingdom, Morgan and Carol's own story arc, Oceanside arc, which doesn't feel like the old way of The Walking Dead. So was it a good idea to broaden the roster? I mean, personally, I didn't mind it that bad. I know a lot of people hate on season 7 and 8, and I do understand why people had some problems with those seasons. But at the same time, I think it was just so much more about the writing. You know what I mean? I think it was so much more about the writing instead of the fact that there was, a more broadened roster. You know what I mean? I think it was more about that. So, I mean, I'm going to say no just because we got so many good characters. I get what you're saying, but also The Walking Dead was getting older at the end of season 5 and 6, right? And, I mean, it's kind of like people are so hard to please. There's going to always be those fans that say, oh man, I miss, seasons 1 through 3 or 1 through 6 where it was kind of just the, original group and then they started involving all these other characters and communities and that got boring for me and I miss the old days. And then, if they didn't make all these new communities and involve all these new characters, there's going to be people that are saying like, oh, it's so stale. It's just been the same thing. Them out in the woods with Rick and Daryl and you know what I mean? So people are just too hard to please and no one's ever going to be 100% happy or content with the way something like this goes. But in the end, I personally did not have a problem with it and I just enjoyed the Walking Dead story for what it was. Yes, season 7 and 8 are not my favorite seasons. I didn't just love them, but at the same time, there was moments during those seasons that I really appreciated and had a lot of fun with. So to answer your question, I think it was a good idea. Next question we have, and this is just another interesting question. You guys think of some great stuff, man. So this question says, do you feel the way AMC is spacing out the spinoffs, they are giving the younger actors a chance to age a little bit before maybe bringing back The Walking Dead for more seasons, like the next generation of the series? So, wonderful question, first off. And I mean, I never even thought about that, to be honest. Like, I've never once thought about that, but that could possibly be what's going on. Maybe, but at the same time, I just don't know because they could let the kids kind of grow up a little bit, like RJ and Judith or whatever, and then maybe have something 5 years after the end of The Walking Dead, right? Like maybe they could have a little time jump or something. I don't know. It definitely could happen. It could be a possibility, but I honestly don't know. But that's just such a great thought, honestly. The next question we have is, let's say you were in charge for AMC. How many episodes will you give for the ones who live to let them fresh out their stories? So I think you mean how many episodes would I give for the ones who live to let them fresh out their stories? I mean, probably 10. 10 to 9, probably. 9 to 10 range. I think 9 to 10 episodes for the ones who live would have been a lot better than what we got. I think 6 is just... 6 was fine, but it just seemed a little bit rushed. Now, even though it was a little bit rushed, I didn't hate the last episode like a lot of people did. But, I mean, dude, like I said, people are going to complain. I mean, people are so fickle, I mean, people are going to complain about stuff. That's just life. So I personally enjoyed the ending of The Ones Who Live. Some people maybe didn't. That sucks. But in the end, no one's ever going to be happy. But if I was in charge of AMC, I mean, I probably would do maybe like 9 episodes for the ones who live. Next question we have is, would you ever do a collab with another Walking Dead YouTuber? And I mean, I would love to, honestly. I think a lot of the Walking Dead YouTube community is very passionate, and I honestly, there's a couple YouTubers just off the top of my head that I really, really loved. And the first one, like hands down, my favorite Walking Dead YouTuber is Movie Idol. 100%. Movie Idol is such a great guy. And I don't know if you guys follow his Twitch, but you definitely should if you guys ever just want to go in there and chill out with him. He's just such a cool guy, and he always replies to all the comments, and he's just very good at having conversations and stuff like that. So I personally would love to be able to just do a video and talk about The Walking Dead with Movie Idol, because I know it's just as awesome for me as it is for him. Like, I know Movie Idol is so passionate about The Walking Dead, and he's also a cool guy. So Movie Idol, hands down. I mean, if I could ever do a video with him someday, it'd be awesome. If you guys don't know, make sure you check out his Twitch and go in there and hang out with him sometimes. He's just such a cool guy. And, not to like get too personal about what he's experienced and stuff like that, but he's gone through some pretty difficult times, and I mean, he's a pretty strong person for real, and he's definitely admirable and inspiring what he's been able to do. So I mean, yeah, Movie Idol for sure. I would love to talk with him, and I just love that guy straight up. He's a great dude, and he's awesome, and I'm always in his streams, and yeah, he definitely was part of the inspiration for me personally to make a YouTube channel and do The Walking Dead. So or do a Walking Dead YouTube channel, I mean. So yeah, absolutely, I would love to do something with Movie Idol someday. Next question we have is another great one. How quickly would Rick have taken out the Whisperers? Second, at what point would Shane have lost Lori if following the same timeline as the show, if Shane replaced Rick, and would he have lost her at all? So you're saying, like, if Shane never died, if Shane replaced Rick, would Lori have died at the same time in the show? I think Shane was a lot more obsessed with Lori than Rick was. I think Rick Rick kind of got like annoyed with Lori. You know what I mean? He didn't really like her that much. So I mean, Shane probably would have just never even let Lori be away from his side. You know what I mean? He probably would have treated her more like, like a kid almost. Like, you cannot leave my side. It's the apocalypse. And maybe that, would have preserved her life a little bit better than Rick did. But I mean, I don't know. That's just such a great question, but I'm not really sure. I think she probably would have been alive, but at the same time, she died because of childbirth. But at the same time, if she would have been with Herschel, Herschel could have helped her have the baby, maybe. I don't know. It's a tough question, but I'm not really sure. And how quickly would Rick have taken care of the Whisperers? I mean, I just don't know. I think Rick definitely was a good planner. You know what I mean? In the way that I think Rick was all about just taking the leader out. So I think he definitely would have been having like snipers and scouts and stuff like that and lookouts, obviously with his police background and stuff like that, and he's been in the crap, man. He's been through so many bad situations, and I think Rick is a really good leader. So I definitely think he would have probably taken the Whisperers out a little bit faster than what, our group did. Anyway, next question. What is your ideal ending for the overall Walking Dead universe? And out of the characters remaining, who do you think will survive, if any? I mean, what a great question, bro. You guys are the greatest ever when it comes to leaving comments. You guys leave the best freaking, like, questions ever. My ideal ending, okay, I still think The Walking Dead has a lot of potential. I don't want The Walking Dead to end. I mean, within the next 3 years, I would not want it to end. I think at least 3 to 4 or 5 more years of The Walking Dead universe is what I would prefer. Because I still think there's so many awesome stories that you can tell. I still want the main group to get back together and get multiple seasons of the stuff that we never really got. And that is, Rick and Negan helping each other out, right? I would love to see Negan save Rick and then reach down and try to help him up off the ground, get your butt off the ground or something, and just Rick kind of looking at him, and Rick's like, what the heck? You know what I mean? Like, this is crazy. I would love to see that. There's so much potential for The Walking Dead still. So, I don't know. My ideal ending would definitely be probably, 5 to 7, 8 years from now. I think a giant time jump would be awesome. Just to have, Judith all grown up, old man Rick, old man Daryl, inside the Commonwealth. And I think it would be awesome just to have, like, Andrew Lincoln narrate the ending, right? And he's like, and we lived there for the rest of our lives. And you know what I mean? Like, it'd be cool. So I would definitely prefer that, just like a giant time jump in. I think who would survive would probably be Carol, Daryl, and Rick. I think everybody else, probably Judith as well, and RJ, I would assume too. But those guys are safe to me. Maggie, Negan, I actually don't think either one of them are safe. I could actually see Maggie and Negan both dying on some crazy crap. But yeah, I think Daryl, Carol, and Rick need to survive to the end and have like a giant time jump with just old man Daryl, old man Rick. And I think it would be really, really, it'd be so heartwarming to know that that's the final ending. It's all over, right? Like have just a giant time jump, old man Daryl, gray hair, beard, Rick, gray haired, walking around with a cane and stuff, and Judith all grown up, and Judith has kids and stuff, and it would just be a beautiful, heartwarming ending to an absolutely fantastic universe. And I would like to see that 5 to 8 years from now. I still think there's so much potential with The Walking Dead right now, and I don't think they should end The Walking Dead anytime soon. I mean, there's so much there still, and the spin-offs have shown there's still a lot of interest. They should not end it anytime soon. Anyway, I have a couple more questions for you guys, and I'll try to get through these a little bit quickly. I know this is a little bit longer than typical, but it's just awesome. This is such an awesome video. You guys are the greatest, man. The next question we have is, do you think Shane could have been a good dad to Judith? And I mean, what a question, man. I do. I think Shane had good in him. I don't think Shane was just like at the core, just a rotten person. I think he felt okay with the stuff that he was doing because he was in his mind he was doing it to save the people he loves. Now I think he got a little bit like cat whipped with Lori. I think that he should have just backed off and just let Rick and Lori do their thing. And obviously he did go down a bad path, but I really wish they would have kept Shane alive. And I would have loved to have seen that dynamic with Rick and Shane and Judith. It would have been really, really interesting to have Shane kind of back off. And imagine a scene way down the road, if Shane would have lived, where Shane tells Judith, like, I'm actually your dad. I'm your real father. You know what I mean? Imagine like a scene where Rick and Shane are arguing or something, and he says something like that. Uh, I don't know. Losing Lori wasn't just hard for you; it was hard for me too. Imagine if Shane would have lived to see Lori die and stuff like that, and things went the same way they did, but Shane was alive, right? And Rick was alive too, and then they're arguing or something, and Shane's like, I have to live every day knowing that my daughter doesn't even know who I am really, and stuff like that, and it's just like this. And then Judith like walks in and stuff like that, and I don't know. It could have been awesome. It could have been really, really cool and have some really awesome like dramatic scene where Shane and Rick are arguing, and Judith walks in, and she finds out that Shane's actually her dad. Like, that would have been such a freaking cool dynamic, man. It would have been heartbreaking and hard to understand and really just messed up, and that's what The Walking Dead is. I think they missed the opportunity with killing Shane in so many different ways. I could go on for 30 minutes about why they shouldn't have killed Shane off, but it is what it is. Next question, out of all the characters, which one did you expect to leave during earlier seasons? So out of all the characters that are alive, which character or which one did I expect to leave during earlier seasons? I mean, I thought Daryl would die. I did not think when I saw Daryl for the first time that he was going to be alive for the rest, for the remainder of the show and into spinoffs and stuff. No, I thought Daryl definitely would have died from like the early seasons for sure. Carol too. The only character I ever felt was truly safe in The Walking Dead was Rick and Carl. That's it. Those are the only two characters that I thought were ever truly, truly 100% safe. And then when Carl died, I was like, dude, anybody can die. And that's kind of what made me like The Walking Dead even more. Because when Carl died, I just felt like no one was safe, man. And that's what The Walking Dead should feel like to me. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people hated that Carl death, but for me, I didn't really mind it that much. I never really liked Carl that much. He was annoying to me. Now, in hindsight, would I have liked him to live? Sure. But it didn't ruin the show for me. I don't hate Scott Gimple for that like everybody else. I think it was a major, major like twist in the storyline, and the fact that the Walking Dead universe has continued on without Carl, and it has had a pretty good future even without him. Now Judith kind of took his role, and we'll have to see what they do with Judith, but I'm sure they're going to do something with Judith and the future of the Walking Dead and the next generation, as somebody asked earlier. Now we're down to our last two questions, or last one question actually. Most memorable character who died. Most memorable character who died and why. Most memorable character who died. Definitely probably Glenn. I mean, it has to be Glenn, right? I mean, Glenn was like the heart and soul of the Walking Dead universe. Glenn was a beautiful human being and a beautiful character. And I think a lot of us related with Glenn, right? I think a lot of the people that watched The Walking Dead loved Glenn and had a lot of fun with that character. I think Glenn was just such a good guy, and he was always so heartwarming and awesome to watch on the screen. He just always was so positive and optimistic, even when they were neck deep down Crap Creek, you know? So, probably Glenn for sure. But anyway, guys, that's going to conclude the video. I appreciate the questions. This was a really long video for me, 15 minutes. Holy smokes. If you stayed all the way through, I really appreciate it. I love you guys. You're the best. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.